A lot of people ask me if they could grow tropical fruit trees in pots. The answer is yes. Look at the size of this mango tree right here, and it's in a 25-gallon pot. I could leave it in this pot, and this guy will flower and give me fruit season after season. Heck, Armando will tell you we find our pots flowering and fruiting all the time, right, Armando?
Oh, yeah.
And we don't want that, because when we have our fruit in pots in our nursery, we want the tree growing strong. We don't want them producing fruit. But you do. And one of the things you'll need to do is increase the size of your pot every year so that your tree does not become root bound. A lot of people don't realize that half the biomass of a tree is under the ground. That oak tree way back there has roots underneath my feet right here. Trees are shaped like a bow tie if you turned it 90 degrees. You've got a big canopy on top, then a narrow trunk, then a big root system underneath the ground. And that's why we have all different size pots. 1 gallon, 3 gallon, 7 gallon. Then they go 15, 25, and even bigger. If you leave your tree too long in a 1 gallon pot and you never put it in a 3, it's identical to if you were wearing the same pair of shoes today that you wore to kindergarten. Imagine what your feet would look like. The same thing happens to roots. If you have roots trying to grow in this little pot, and they want to branch out and they want to spread out like they do in nature, they're going to hit the edge of the pot on the inside, they're going to turn around and turn back in on themselves. And instead of growing out and flourishing, they're going to grow out, turn around, come back in, and they're going to start grafting together. And they'll turn into big hunks of wood down inside your pot, and they won't be absorbing any nutrients. This is a root-bound tree, and this is a healthy tree. Look at all that hair-like growth coming off of this guy. This has nothing, and if you look real close, you'll see all these thick roots growing in a circular pattern. This tree sat in a 15-gallon pot way too long. I put both of these in the ground on the same day. This one flourished and produced all that new root. This one, I went out to the grove today and grabbed the trunk. I pulled it right out of the ground just like I was lifting up a pot. It did not establish itself at all. I'm gonna try and rescue this tree. I don't even know if it's worth it, but I think it would be interesting to see what the root system looks like. Right away you can see this is very different than the average tree you get out of a nursery pot. This is like a hard chunk, and it's all like latticed together by these roots that have like turned in on themselves. So I'm spraying this thing with water and the soil ain't coming out. It's all locked in there, you know, in these roots. So I guess I'm gonna have to cut it out, but tell them, I mean, normally a tree like this right out of a pot, if you just shake it, the soil's all gonna fall out. You know what I mean? So yeah, I really should have gave this a better look before I put it in the ground in the first place. Yeah. And this tree has been struggling for 8 months. It drops its leaves and then it tries to grow more and then it drops more, but I can't even, yeah. Man, this is just such a dense, this is just so dense. I cannot get this soil free. This is insane. I'm gonna need about a half an hour. I'll be right back. Having gone at it for the better part of an hour now, you could finally see this mess. And now I've kind of been trying to stretch it out and cut these roots and open them up, right? See how far these things want to spread, right? But in the pot, these were all mashed in one big giant pot-sized shape. And this is what I'm talking about when I say a tree is bow tie shaped. Half your tree is under the ground. If this tree was in the ground, instead of growing into a pot-shaped ball of roots, this would have spread out and been as wide or wider than this tree's canopy. Armando, can you bring me that pot? So I don't know if it's worth it, but Armando's coming with a, what is that, about a 15-gallon pot, Armando? Yeah, 15 gallons. So we're gonna plant this sucker. Look at these roots, Armando. Look at how thick and tangled they all were. Jeez, no wonder this tree was suffering. All right, so we're gonna transplant it into this 15-gallon pot. Go ahead, Armando, just pour that soil. So we already have about, what, 6, 7 inches of soil in the bottom of the pot, right?
Like 6.
6 inches. And now Armando's just gonna pour soil in on top of it. Go ahead. We wanna make sure we get all the soil in there, shake it in so there's no voids. You see these roots coming up, there's roots coming right up here. I wanna make sure all the roots are covered. But since this is a grafted tree, the graft junction is right here. I don't want to put soil above it. And really, another suggestion if you're someone who wants to grow fruit trees in pots, don't chintz on the soil. Give your plants as much soil as you could fit in the pot. This will be interesting to see if we save this guy, and I'll definitely come back and update you. So my advice to you, if your living conditions are such that you need to grow your trees in pots, make sure every few months you go to a bigger size pot. So Armando, we're gonna leave them in a 1 gallon pot for probably 8 or 9 months, right? 8 months, right? Then we're gonna go to this, a 3 gallon pot.
3 gallons?
Yeah, 3 gallon, you could leave them in there for a little while. How long would you leave them in a 3 gallon? 8 to 12 months? Yeah.
That sounds like 12 months?
Yeah, yeah. But once you hit that 12-month mark, he's gonna start getting root bound.
Oh, yeah.
And it's time to go up to a 7 gallon, right?
Yeah, once you go to 7, you could wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, you could wait maybe a year, 18 months, but you're gonna have to go up again.
Oh, yeah.
And in that case, you can go up to a 15 or a 25. Now here's the bad news. Even in a 15 or a 25, you can get root bound. So every few years, you're gonna have to do a project where you go down into the soil and root prune your tree. If you're someone who grows fruit trees in pots and your tree's been doing great for years and then all of a sudden it starts to suffer, take a look at it. It could be root bound. It might be time to go to a bigger pot. Now, if all that changing pots and untangling roots seems like an awful lot of work and you would rather just buy your fruit, go to guacfarm.com. GUACFARM.com. That's where we sell our fruit when it's in season. We sell our t-shirts and these hats. And there's nothing I love more than introducing someone to a variety of fruit they have never tried before. I've been neglecting Armando back there and I could tell he's getting mad at me, so I gotta get back to working in the nursery. While I do that, you go to guacfarm.com and I will see you on the next video.